Hello friends, in this video we will discuss regarding the second paper of political science in the UPSC examination, especially in the mains examination. So in the earlier video we have discussed regarding the paper 1 and its importance, how we can score maximum in the paper 1. So now in this political science paper 2 we will discuss how we have to approach the paper and how we have to approach the syllabus, so that we can gain more marks as well as we can get some idea regarding the international affairs, comparative politics, etc. So which area will be covered in the paper 2? So in the political science paper 2, major areas would be covered like comparative politics and international relations in the section A. In the section B, we will discuss regarding the India and the world. So this is covered in the section B. So we are aware of in the section A there would be 4 questions. We need to write 2. In the second section we need to write 2 questions. Overall we need to write 5 questions. So we will be having 3 choice in the both section A and section B. So if we come to the syllabus, so clearly they have mentioned comparative politics, international relations in section A, international, India and world in the section B. So in the comparative politics section A, they would be concentrating mostly on the approaches to the study of comparative politics as well as approaches to the international relations and the certain theories. So why we need to understand these theories? Because whenever we are having idea on the theories, we can have some practicalities, practical idea. It means, suppose if you understand the realism, you can understand the foreign policy of India, foreign policy of America, foreign policy of Japan. Like that, you can understand the practicalities of that theory. So that we need to understand in the section A regarding these theories and approaches. So apart from these theories and approaches, we will understand certain basic ideas and burning ideas in the international relations. Take for example, globalization. We will cover this area in the section A. So we cannot say that it is only applicable to the political science syllabus in the section A of paper 2. It is not right. It will cover everything, because of socialization our economy may affected, society also affected, polity or political system also affected. Likewise, we need to have concrete idea in the globalization. So how we need to understand this globalization in the developing countries and developed countries? Okay, what is these developed countries? What are the developing countries? So whenever we are having idea like this, our area of preparation would be interesting rather than it is boring. Okay, so even though it is in the India, globalization started in the 1991 economic reforms. So it was existing earlier also in the world, but we have adopted this policy in the 1991. So how it would be having impact on India? So India is also one of the developing country. Okay, so how it is affecting the developed countries? Take for example WTO or any economic institution which is covering the world trade to meet this idea, because globalization itself explains it is a world is a global village. Interconnection of boundaries. Okay, we are connecting the world boundaries, countries boundaries, to have trade, to have the relations with the people. So to understand this globalization, we need to have certain ideas regarding the society, economy, polity. Because of this globalization we can get that idea. this is one of the important idea in the international relations. So that international area of globalization, how it is affecting the developing countries and developed countries, how it would be impact the world economy. So how these institutions are playing a role during the globalization. So likewise we can understand certain concepts. So apart from this globalization, we will cover certain areas like democracy, okay, democracy, power, likewise nuclear proliferation, okay. So such type of areas would be asking. So you may have the doubt, it is covering in the paper 1 syllabus. Yes, it is covering in the paper 1 syllabus as a theoretical aspect. As a practical aspect in the international relations, we will understand why voter turnout is very low in democracies in recent days. So low turnout in the democracies in recent years. What are the reasons? People are not interested in democracy. Why they are tilting toward the other political systems? Are there any reasons? Likewise we can understand. So again we may have the questions for the developing countries. Democracy is a suitable political system. See, these questions are asked in the various years of UPSC optional political science. So likewise they will be asking. So we cannot deny that this year questions have been asked like this. Next year also would be asking like that. We need not to focus on only particular areas. We need to focus on the syllabus, so that how we can correlate the syllabus and how we can get maximum marks. Likewise we need to think. So we need not to think on the this year's question paper, so that next year these questions would not be asking. Likewise we should not focus on our preparation. So this is the one area. So power, how soft power and hard power. Playing their role in the international relations. So soft power means through the diplomacy, this power will play the minor role. So in the hard power, it will only on the arms race. Okay. So wars. Likewise, this power will prevail. But now, recent days, this is the main area. Majority countries are focusing on the soft power. So likewise, we can understand. So in the nuclear proliferation. So what we will study in the nuclear proliferation? Whether it is CTBT, NPT. Likewise, we will study the certain theories. So we need to understand syllabus in this manner. Whenever we can understand syllabus in this manner, there would not be any burden on the aspirant. They can correlate the syllabus in a simple manner. Take for example, Indian foreign policy. Okay, this is the major area in the paper 2 syllabus of political science. Foreign policy. Okay, as a country, everyone will have their own foreign policy towards other countries. So how this foreign policy would be preparing? Who are the main actors in the preparation of foreign policy? So if you understand the India foreign ministry or external affairs ministry, MEA, we can say simply Minister of External Affairs, they are playing a vital role to prepare the foreign policy. So these are the institutional mechanism. But which factors are influencing the Indian foreign policy? Whether it is resources, population, geography, economic conditions, okay. Likewise, there are many factors influencing the making of Indian foreign policy. But questions would be asking, how these days Ministry of External Affairs losing its importance in the preparation of foreign policy? Because whenever Prime Minister is strong, then Prime Minister office would play a vital role than the Minister of External Affairs. Because they every Prime Minister would have certain interest to mark on their ruling. So likewise, certain types of questions would be asking. Again, see, these are the determinants of Indian foreign policy. Okay, this is the mechanism, institutional mechanism. But how India is having relations with other countries also would comes under the Indian foreign policy, because India may have the relations with the Asia, okay, Africa, America, okay, whether it is North America or South America, okay. So they may have the relations with Europe, they may have the relations with the Australian continent, they may have the relations like this. Again, in the Asia, they may have the very good relations with the South Asian countries, okay. Likewise, they will also have the relations with the Asian countries, Association of Southeast Asian Nation. In the South Asia, again we are having the one regional organization called SAARC. So likewise, we need to understand the foreign policy in this manner. So in our syllabus, we will be having how India is having relations with the Pakistan, how India is having relations with the China. So if we are study the foreign policy in this manner, we can give the clarity on the preparation, so that we can cover like this Asia and Indian foreign policy. So what are the major powers? So here we have discussed it, China, Pakistan, like that. So what are the major countries in the ASEAN? Whether it is Thailand, Philippines, okay, Singapore, Malaysia, like that we can cover the relations with these countries. But entire countries, entire members of this ASEAN may not be important, but we need to have the idea in which area, in which continent this country is located, so that we can connect. Take for example, recently we have seen Suez Canal blockage. So we, as a international science, international relations students or political science student, we need to have a certain idea on the Suez Canal. Okay, so whenever we can get the idea on the Suez Canal, we can have the answer to write in the examinations, because where it is located, is it between the Europe and African continents, or whether it is Asian and African continents, why it is so important, why Cape of Good Hope is became prominent when it is blockage. So likewise we can understand these important areas. So this is the thing we need to understand while understanding the foreign policy. So apart from these things, we need to have the idea what are the major powers in the Europe continent. So what are the major continents? Whether it is France, whether it is Russia, whether it is Britain, okay, Likewise, we need to understand. So in the Europe, Russia and Britain, we can say it is a Eurasian continent, Eurasian country. Russia is a Eurasian country because some part of in the Europe, some part in the Asia. So likewise, how India is having relations with the Russia and how it is having relations with the Britain, how European Union connecting the EU and India, and Brexit, how it is influencing the India England relations. So likewise we can relate either way. We can understand the foreign policy holistically as a India and other continent. We can get the idea country wise, like India and Pakistan, India and England, India and France, India and Russia. Likewise we can understand the IR in this manner. Okay, so this is the continent. So in the Africa, we can have the relations with the South Africa, we can have the relations with the Nigeria. So how it is important to have the relations with the South Africa and Nigeria while understanding the foreign policy. Okay, so likewise we can correlate this syllabus in any manner, but we need to have the idea that we need to have the clear idea. That is the thing. So while understanding the foreign policy, we can get the idea like this. So this is the one area of preparation. So we have discussed regarding the foreign policy, how we need to study. If we study like this, we cannot be overlapping in our syllabus, and also we can get the clarity where we are. So we can correlate. Remember, in the optional syllabus, we need to correlate the syllabus. Then only we can get the clear idea. Take for example another area, United Nations Organization. Okay, this is the one of the international organization which came into the picture after the Second World War. Okay, so this UNO establishment main intention is to stay away from the power blocks. What are the power blocks during the Second World War? One is USA and USSR. We can say that these two countries are representing the bipolarity. So while studying this UNO, we can understand this bipolarity as well as we can understand the Cold War. Okay, so likewise, while understanding this UNO, we can get the idea on Cold War, bipolarity, and collective security. Likewise, we can understand in this manner. So what are the questions would be asking? So what are the other areas also covering under the UNO? So UNO, what is the main intention? Okay, this is the main intention, and maintain peace and security in the world. Okay, this is the main intention to have the UNO after the Second World War. So what are the main organs? There are certain organs in the UNO. One is General Assembly, Security Council, Social and Economic Council, okay, Secretariat, International Court of Justice. Like that we are having certain organs. So how these organs playing a vital role in the maintenance of peace and security in the world, as well as social and economic development in the world. Okay, so this is the main area where it is focusing. So what are India's role in the UNO? Why it is having prominence with regard to the India? So now we will understand how India and UNO having the relation. So UNO and India. So from this area, how questions would be asking. As a founding member of UNO, India is not having the veto power. Okay? Why it is not having veto power? That we need to discuss. Why in the Security Council India is not a permanent member? There are 15 members in the Security Council of UNO, 10 non-permanent members, 5 permanent members. These 5 members are having the veto power. But India is not having the veto power even though it is a founding member of UNO. So, likewise, if we understand the veto power and Security Council, we can understand the UNO and its relationship. And also India playing an important role in the peacekeeping forces. Okay? Remember, United Nations Security Council question has been asking in any manner, okay, why India is not getting the United Nations Security Council membership even though it is a founding member. What are the changes are required? What are the reforms are required in the UNO to accommodate all the countries which are having prominence in the world affairs? So that's why many world countries are seeking the membership in the UN Security Council. Even last year question, UNO Secretary General Antonio Guterres also suggested certain reforms in the UNO to accommodate the countries which are having prominence in the world affairs. So that is the thing also we can get idea after studying the India and UNO, so that we can answer the questions in an effective manner. So if we study the UNO India like this, we can write our answers in a effective manner. So that is the another thing. Take for example NAM, non-alignment movement. See, I am not covering the entire syllabus, but I am giving the insights how we need to focus on the preparation and how we need to approach the syllabus. So observe the India and non-alignment movement. So this is also came into the picture during the Cold War. So Cold War is between the 1945 to 1991 until the Berlin Wall collapsed. As well as disintegration of USSR. So these are the major areas contributed for the having the policy of non-alignment after the Second World War. So in this non-alignment again India, Egypt, Yugoslavia, likewise certain countries have participated for the establishment of new policy or having the new policy like non-alignment movement. So we are not having any proximity with the superpowers which were existing during the 1945 to 1991. Those are the USA and USSR. So India and now we have studied Cold War, how the Cold War influenced the having the policy of non-alignment movement. Even though it was established in 1945, still is it having relevance? Okay, right? We are having institutions like UNO, NAM like that. Are we having any relevance with the NAM? Why we need to have the NAM at present day? Because we are focusing mostly on the bilateral relations than the multilateral and world things. So we need to understand this thing. We need to have certain idea. Till 2016, okay, then 17th NAM summit was held in Venezuela. Focus was mostly on the traditional affairs of UNO, sorry, NAM. But once it became a important issue during this period, then they have enacted the another non-alignment movements with certain changes as a 2.0. Till the 2016, it was considered as a 1.0. After the 2016, it became a 2.0. So we need to understand what are the changes happened. What are the main features of the non-alignment movement? What was the changes took place in the 2.0 after the 2016 17th NAM summit in Venezuela? So if we understand like this, we can give the idea why it is relevant. So likewise, we can get the idea after studying the political science second paper. We can get more marks if we approach like this. I hope you will get certain idea, you have got certain idea, so that we can move ahead in the classes.